Hi, Miss Eglin here. Today I'm going to be reading the reading focus on what is an inference and how do I make one. This is on pages 250 and 251 of the textbook. Your friend asks, "What's wrong?" And you reply nothing. But your friend knows that something is indeed wrong. Your friend listened to your answer, but also paid attention to your facial expression, connected to his or her own experience, and made an inference, an educated guess. You make inferences as you read by making connections between what the author writes and your own experience. Making connections helps you read for deeper meaning. Making inferences. To make inferences as you read, use clues in the text and your own knowledge and experiences to make an educated guess. When you make inferences about characters, you try to guess what kind of people they are based on and how they act, or what they say, and how other people respond to them. You might also make an inference about how a character will resolve a conflict or about what motivates a character to behave in a certain way. Tips for making inferences. Making connections to your own experiences helps you with making inferences. Think about how a character or event relates to what you know. You'll find more ideas on connecting two stories on the next page. Remember that an inference is a conclusion that makes sense. You need evidence to support your inferences. That evidence comes from the writer's clues and your own experiences. It says, "I say, and so." You can use an "it says, I say, and so" chart to help you make inferences. Here's an example from 7th grade by Gary Soto. It says, writer's clues. Teresa looked at Victor and smiled sweetly. I say, own experiences. Someone who smiles at you usually likes you. And so the inference would be Teresa likes Victor. Keep in mind that sometimes writer gives clues that may lead you to draw incorrect conclusions. That's what makes a story interesting and exciting. As you read, keep watching for clues in the story and be ready to make new inferences based on the new evidence that you find. Connecting to the text. Making personal connections to text helps you to read for deeper meaning. You may relate characters and events to your own life, to other stories you know, and to wider experiences. The text in you. As you read, you may recognize connections with your own life that help you put yourself in the story. You may think, this character is like me because I was in a similar situation when, or I disagree with the writer's idea because. The text and another text. You may see similarities between the story you are reading and one you have already read that can help you understand new characters or the story's plot. You may think, this story reminds me of The Dive because. This character reminds me of Superman because. This conflict reminds me of the fight between Ricky Tikki Tavi and Nag because. The text and the world. A story can help you make sense of a situation in your school or community. It can help you understand peoples and conflicts in other places. You may think, this text reminds me of something I heard because. This text reminds me of. This character is an example of. Analyzing how character affects plot. Plot is the action of a story. Characters are the ones doing the acting. So if a character were different, then the plot would be different too. You can figure out how a story would change if a character were different by using a strategy called if-then. Think about a character's traits and the way the character behaves in the story. Then imagine how the events in the story would be different if the character had different traits. If a character were mean, then what would happen if the character were kind? Apply the if-then strategy to help you understand the way characters make a story what it is. Your turn. Apply reading skills. Suppose you are called on to answer a question. You answer incorrectly. Instead of getting upset with you, the teacher smiles and says, better luck next time. What can you infer about the teacher? 2. Use the if-then strategy to explain how a story about a date would change if a key character were bold instead of shy. Skills focus, reading skills. Make an inference from a text, make connections from a text, understand how character affects plot. That's it for this article.